Planeswalkers, it's your boy K-Dog. Got a historic list for you guys. This one we're taking a look at Rakdos Menace. That's right. Of course, in Ikoria we've got some fantastic Menace creatures and spells. But looking at the historic, it's not really something I've seen get much attention to, even though there's some very powerful spells that fit in nicely in the Menace archetype, including an old favorite, Rampaging Ferocidon, which is kind of a house in the format. Obviously, Mono White Life Gain is one of the top decks. And you also have Field of the Dead. This works really well against as well. And you also have things like some powerful removal spells like Cast Down and Chainer's Edict. So I think it's definitely kind of a deck that's being slept on a little bit, and so that's what we're going to be taking a look at here today. So going to the list here, of course, we have the Dreadmalkin as a 4 of a 1/1 Menace. You can pay 3 to sack another creature to put 2+1/+1 counters on it. A couple copies of Stronghold Confessor. It's a card that really has not seen much play, and it's not the best creature, but a 1/1 Menace fits in nicely with our deck. And it does have Kicker, so it kind of scales up in the late game, and it comes in with 2+1/+1 counters on it. So a 4-mana 3/3 Menace isn't the best deal ever. However, it is sometimes nice to have that flexibility there as well. Blazing Volley pairs nicely with, of course, the Pestilent Spirit. As sorcery speed, 1 mana, you do 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. And, of course, the Pestilent Spirit, one of my favorite combos here. 3/2 Menace and Death Touch. Instant and sorcery spells you control have Death Touch. So if you have a Pestilent Spirit out and you can cast a Blazing Volley, then that's just a one-sided board wipe. Kills everything on your opponent's side. But even aside from that, there's Llanowar Elves and Paradise Druid and things like that. This works fantastic against. Even if you just kill 1, maybe even 2 of those, it's still just fantastic rate. So Cast Down, of course, instant speed, destroy target non-legendary creature. It's fantastic in this format. You can also take a look at Heartless Act as well, but I think Cast Down might be slightly better. We'll see, though. Still kind of figuring out how the historic format is going to shape up. And, of course, Chainer's Edict is fantastic. 2 mana. Sorcery speed, though. Target player sacrifices a creature, so it's great, obviously, to get around hexproof and things like that. And the fact that you can flash it back for 7 mana, which is pretty steep, but if the game does drag on for some reason, it definitely can be relevant. And then, of course, Angrath's Rampage here. Make your opponent sacrifice an artifact, creature, or a planeswalker, so it gives a little bit of flexibility here. And, of course, Labyrinth Raptor is the fantastic spell we got here in Ikoria, 2/2 Menace. Whenever a creature you control with Menace becomes blocked, defending players sacrifice a creature blocking it. And you can pay a black and red to, say, creatures you control with Menace get +1/+0 until end of turn. This is going to help you close out games very quickly. And, of course, the good old Stormfist Crusader kind of glue that holds this all together. 2/2 Menace. Beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card and loses 1 life. So, typical Rakdos fashion, we're getting this powerful effect. We're losing our life as in the process, but we don't really care about our life total too much. We just want to kill our opponent as quickly as possible. And, of course, just having Menace helps us do that, unless your opponent has some kind of a go-wide strategy. But, of course, we can have things like Blazing Volley to help out with that. And, of course, Grimdancer is another fantastic creature we got in Ikoria. Just running here as a 2-of because we want to make room for some other stuff. We can choose 2 counters among Menace, Death Touch, and Lifelink. So obviously we're going to choose Menace because we're a Menace deck, but then you're either going to choose Death Touch or Lifelink, depending on your opponent. Obviously, Lifelink against more aggressive matchups, we need to make up that life. Or if the game kind of drags on and you got your Crusader kind of pinging away at your life total, and you need that life gain back, situations like that. Otherwise, your opponent has bigger creatures, and you're going to want to obviously go for the Death Touch. You can just hold it back as a blocker, maybe, and just swing in with the rest of your team. Murderous Rider as a 2-of, which is kind of a must, of course, in any black-based deck. Have the flexibility to destroy creatures and planeswalkers at instant speed, and then having the option to bring it down as a 2/3 lifelinking creature as well. Of course, all 4 copies here of Pestilent Spirit, and all 4 copies here of Rampaging Ferocidon. Just I think it's a great call in the meta right now. And Tentative Connection. It's 4 mana, sorcery speed. Gain control of target creature until end of turn, and tap that creature, gains haste until end of turn. So it does cost 3 less to cast if you control a creature with Menace, and since we are, of course, Menace Tribal, this is basically just going to be kind of like Claim the Firstborn, whereas Claim the Firstborn only cares about 1, 2, and 3 drops. Tentative Connection is basically like an act of treason. You can just get control of any creature on your opponent's side. And then just to kind of go over Rampaging Ferocidon in case I don't go over it, it does, of course, have Menace. Players can't gain life, so that does include ourself. So with the Grimdancer, we don't want to choose lifelink if we have Ferocidon now, because it's not going to do us any good. And then, of course, whenever any creature enters the battlefield, Rampaging Ferocidon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. So we're running 23 lands. Do you want to keep it sort of narrow, but you still need to be able to get to your 3-drops that are very important 3-drop creatures you need to be able to play on curve. And of course, being able to play a creature and hold up a removal spell at the same time is also fantastic as well. So you don't think you want to go too low on the land count, so you're running 23 lands. So we got the Castle Locthwain, Castle Embereth, 7 Swamp, 6 Mountain, Blood Crypt, and then of course now in the Historic we get Dragonskull Summit back as well, which is fantastic for our mana base. Go over to the sideboard. Still trying to figure out what the Historic meta is like exactly, but gonna run 1 copy here of Infernal Reckoning. Exile target colorless creature. You gain life equal to its power. 1 mana, instant speed. This is basically exile target Ulamog and then gain 10 life. So we'll still kind of seeing how much of impact Ulamog will have, but I think it's worth running at least a 1 of until we kind of figure that out. Redcap Melee, of course, instant speed. Deal 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a non-red permanent is dealt damage this way, you sacrifice a land. So this is just going to be our silver bullet against Torbrand and Winota specifically. Grafdigger's Cage, of course, is a must throughout arena play right now, as we shut down the Agent of Treachery trickery with Luca and things like that. Soulguard Lantern, of course, for graveyard hate. There are some reanimation strategies out there, but also, of course, things like Luris and Cycling. You don't need to get rid of your opponent's graveyard. Murderous Rider, of course, 2 more copies here for some additional targeted removal. Pharika's Libation gives us kind of an answer for enchantments, as we can force our opponent to sacrifice an enchantment like a Thassa or something like that, or Fire's Invention perhaps. And then 2 more copies of Tentative Connection for any larger creature-based matchups. Instead of making your opponent sacrifice that creature, maybe it's better to just steal it and swinging at your opponent instead with it. And then Gruesome Menagerie for those removal-heavy matchups. 5 mana is a little bit steep for a 23-land deck. However, you're just going to run 2 copies of this in those, against Shadow of the Skies and Kaya's Wrath, things like that, because the game's going to kind of drag on a little bit, and so you eventually will get up to 5 mana. And just getting 3 creatures back right away, since we do have plenty of 1, 2, and 3 drops. It's going to be pretty fantastic to refill the board, and just makes it hard for your opponent to keep up with removal. Alright, so let's jump into some Historic best of 3 and see how we do. There we go. Of course, taking this into ranked, because that's the only way we can play Historic. Unless you just want to play best of 1. It's kind of nice that we're still in the honeymoon phase a little bit, thanks to Historic Anthology 3. People are still kind of playing around, trying out different things, but of course there's still some pretty degenerate stuff from previous Historic formats that have made their return, like Field of the Dead, of course, which I don't know why that card is legal. And then you got things like Nexus of Fate. Try to fix that, make sure we're on full screen here. There we go. All right, up against Fluffster. We're gonna go first, that's perfect. Okay, hand seems great. So lead on Swamp here, and we'll see what our opponent does. But we might just lead on the Stormfist Crusader just to start pinging away our opponent's life total. But we'll see what they're up to. Could also lead with the Raptor as well, since we have multiples. We suspect our opponent has removal. Oh, Llanowar. Well, do we want to kill that, or do we want to... Yeah, I think we'll just go to the Llanowar Elves first, just so they don't start ramping into Nissas and things like that. So obviously we want to see a Murderous Rider. So maybe we don't want to give them the card advantage just yet. Let's start adding to the board here first. And if we find a 3rd land, we'll have an answer for Nissa or a Tamio. Not sure what exactly they're up to. Guess they're actually in Sultai. So some kind of Sultai ramp deck. Just crash in for 2. Just to be mana efficient, we'll go and drop the Grimdancer, choosing Menace and probably Death Touch in case they have some big boys here. Chupacabra, okay. And get rid of our 3/3. Sure. Okay, now we have 4 mana. And attack in. So we're not worried about the Chupacabra as a 2/2. It's already done its job. If anything, we'd rather keep it alive so I don't have a chance to potentially reanimate. This is some kind of a, maybe like a Majothalus or something. Okay, Cavalier. So yeah, looking like a potential Mojotha. Wow, they milled 2 Cavaliers. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so we can kill 2 things here and then swing in for 2/4/6. We have them on the ropes pretty nicely. If we kill the Cavalier, there's draw another Cavalier, so we'll just take out Llanowar and Chupacabra here. And then we'll have the activations next turn on the Labyrinth Raptor. So they're just about lethal because they're going to take 1 on our upkeep unless they have an answer here for Stormfist. Questing Beast, okay, so they're going to hit for 9. They play the Rider out as a 2/3 lifelinker. Another Crusader. Okay, so we kill the... we destroy the Murderous Rider and swing for a lethal. Sweet. And that's exactly how Rakdos does it. Just ignore your life total and just focus on your opponents. Alright. So I probably want these guys. Sacrifice. I mean, these are okay. I'd rather have some graveyard hate though. Do we want the target removal or do you want the tentative connections here? Being able to steal there, Questing Beast or Cavalier seems pretty good. Probably better than killing it. Of course, Cast Down doesn't hit their Questing Beast. But if we just draw our Pestilent Spirit, then we're fine. Because then we can Blazing Volley and kill everything. Because the curve gets a little weird here, but I think it's probably worth bringing in the Murderous Riders. Let's try it like that. Do have the advantage of winning game 1, so if we do if the sideboard plan doesn't work out, we can always readjust here for game 3. Oh man, we got our Pestilent Spirit Blazing Volley combo, but 1 land. That's brutal. That is brutal. Right, well, have to mulligan. Have all the lands. Guess we ditch a swamp. Maybe the mountain would have been better there, or the castle. So turn 1 Llanowar again. Just Blazing Volley that guy. Well, our opponent backs it in. So I guess some kind of a Sultai value list. Against Zeus Pietro Palo. We go first again. Perfect. Well, that was a mountain. We could have kept it. Now 1 land. 1 land. Sweet. Mulligan to 4. Find a Stormfist Crusader. That would kind of be our only saving grace here. Up against some kind of a mono white aggro maybe. It could also be a sacrifice. Nope. Mono white life gain. So this connection could be pretty sweet. Ferocidon as well. Let's just attack in. Activate. Going to keep their life total in check. They're going to start gaining some life here any moment now. Yep, there we go. Which makes our connection that much better the bigger their Pride Mate gets. And Dawn of Hope is a pretty tricky card as well. There we go. So now we shut down their life gain, but of course they probably just have a Conclave Tribunal or something here to deal with it. Gideon.
I will defend the weak at every opportunity.
So they choose lifelink. Okay, apparently they are not paying attention. Yeah, I'll take one. Can Stormfist Crusader start drawing some more cards? We can steal their Pride Mate. How much does this cost? 3? Yeah, if we had one more land, we could do that. Do we go... I think we just go face. So they can block one, but we'll have to sacrifice something. We'll just get the Crusader down. They're down to 5 and they can't gain life unless they can deal with this. And they're doing a bunch of damage here, but... Wow, good old-fashioned Hieromancer's Cage. So now they're going to be gaining some life. Hopefully they just get aggressive and swing all here. Going for a lifelink. Gain life there. Okay, so they're tapped out. They're going to go up to 10. They'll go down to 9 when this triggers. So we can steal the Pride Mate. Sacrifice it to the Dreadmalkin. I think we have to kill 2, 4, 5. Okay, we could steal and pump. That's 3, 6, 7, 8. They can block whatever we steal. We steal the... I think we have to steal the Pride Mate. Then attack Gideon and attack their face. I don't know if I'm doing this right. And we'll sacrifice the Pride Mate. So they keep their Hunter Witness as a 1/1, not a lifelinker. We get Gideon off the board. So they can attack for 2. By a creature, they'll hit for 3. Okay, War Leader. Okay, we go down to 2. Draw 2. We can pump up the team twice here. Well, I think we lose if we don't attack, so we just have to get in there and see what we can do. We're just one shy of lethal. Alright, so we were able to pump up the Dreadmalkin to kill the War Leader at least. So they go up to 2. So now we have to block the 2/2 and take 1. And then we die on upkeep. Alright. That was pretty close. So the sacrifice effects don't seem great. We can make them sacrifice their enchantments. Or just being the Murderous Riders for Grimdancer. I guess we could leave the Rampage in for some Planeswalkers, like a Johnny. I'm sure they're running it. Or just the Tentative Connection. This might work pretty well against them. Let's just leave it like that. Now a super close game. Even a sort of a budgety form, mono white life gain is still pretty powerful. Okay, so we have our Pestilent Spirit now. And our Ferocidon. Yeah, just shock in, get the Dreadmalkin online. So I'll probably just play Blood Crypt tapped, unless we feel like there's something we need to cast down here, but Healer's Hawk could be it. We could just Blazing Volley that. We also have the Pestilent Spirit. Just Dragonskull for now, and we can shock this in next turn. Let's go and destroy that. I think we just want to get the Hawk off the board, and they have nothing to follow it up with. Perfect. Alright, let's go with the Pestilent Spirit. Pretty sure they have some removal here, so I'd rather save the Ferocidon. Yep, Prison Realm. So a very budgety deck here with Prison Realms and Hieromancer's Cage. They've been very slow to play out creatures here, so I think we'll just kind of play it slow as well. Resplendent Angel. Perfect target, thank you. Okay, we'll just drop another Spirit. Try to exhaust a little bit more of the removal before we drop the Ferocidon until we find a second one. And having the Pestilent Spirit down is not a bad thing with 2 Blazing Volleys in hand. But our opponent's just playing the control game with their mono white aggro deck. So we will just kind of keep playing it slow here as well. Gideon comes down and does nothing.
Together we can banish evil from this plane. I believe in you, friend.
Alright, Labyrinth Raptor, perfect. Definitely need to deal with Gideon. With our mana, so let's pump it up. So I'll try to keep this Gideon in check. All the removal. I mean, they may pull it off, but definitely feels like a case of somebody maybe over sideboarding and it costing them. You need a way to deal with this Gideon, though. 4 damage a turn is no joke. Not sure what the Wanderer does. Guess it does prevent the Blazing Volley. Yeah, I think we're just dead here. That sucks. So they just had answers for every single thing we were trying to do. I guess we just kill Gideon here.
I tried my best.
Okay, so Wanderer shuts off our Blazing Volleys, but they're just sitting here with a 1/1. And Mentor of the Meek. Just noticed it shuts off the Stormfist Crusader as well, so that's unfortunate. Or no, the Ferocidon. So we still took damage from that. Wow. Play another one, but our life total is dwindling rapidly. So they're going to hit us for 4 next turn, then we lose 1. Just attack. We can always sacrifice a Crusader, grow the Dreadmalkin. Okay, they got the lifelink. Yeah, then being able to kill our Pestilent Spirits and having the Wanderer for our Blazing Volley, that's proven to be the game here. It's unfortunate. Even a budget deck drew perfect answers at the right time. Alright, so they're going to gain 1,000,000 life, swing out for 4. Cool. We're down to 1. Sack 1 Stormfist, but we don't have mana to sacrifice the other one. That was a frustrating matchup. But yeah, sometimes your opponent just has all the right answers at the right time. So yeah, it was still pretty close games, and obviously game 1 was pretty fantastic. So yeah, definitely a powerful deck. Probably some tweaks could be made to the sideboard, maybe even the main deck. But yeah, I think historic, the Rakdos Menace archetype is definitely a little bit slept on, and hopefully more people will start paying more attention to it. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.